Well, I'm Alan Dale from Gale Force Wins. It's an absolute pleasure to be here at the 36th annual Verte Peninsula Mining Conference. Thank you to our friends at Brook Construction, High Tech Communication, and Western Petroleum for bringing this conversation alive. They understand that all these voices matter. Everybody's included in this conversation, and they brought it to us. So thank you very much to those folks. On that note, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
Thanks, Alan. Yes, my name is Arielle Hogan. I'm originally a geologist from St. John's, actually. And as I like to say, I grew up in a family of ologists, biologists, geologists, ornithologists. So naturally, I spent a lot of time outdoors. And that, then in following tradition, I went to MUN and did geology. And that has taken me all over the world, which has been, wonderful. And it's taken me all the way to British Columbia, where I now live and work for Arca. And that transition to working for Arca, it just made sense. I was able to apply my background in geology, but at the same time, be working to protect the natural world that I grew up in.
And tell me about Arca. Tell me what Arca does.
So Arca is interesting. We're kind of an intersection between geology and climate tech.
Okay.
We're founded by geologists out of the University of British Columbia. And what we do is we take mine waste and we use that as a feedstock for carbon removal. So capturing carbon directly from the atmosphere and storing it as rock.
Talk to me how that works.
Yes, that's usually the next question.
You said that pretty easy. So talk to me how that works.
So specific mine waste, particularly mafic and ultramafic, which means it's rich in magnesium. That's naturally reactive to carbon dioxide because the magnesium in that waste will react with carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, and those will bind to create new minerals, new magnesium carbonate minerals.
Okay.
And then those minerals are stable chemically and physically, and so that provides carbon storage for over 10,000 years.
Okay.
So, you can effectively use rocks to permanently remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere.
Wow. So the mining so there's almost like a closed loop here, right?
Yeah, well, it's a really exciting opportunity for mining, for several reasons. Being able to offset your emissions and hit ESG targets, or in the case that you're able to electrify and decarbonize your operations, the carbon credits that are generated from this process. The process is called carbon mineralization, and those credits, because they provide such long-term storage, they're highly valued in carbon markets, and they're often sold at a premium. So then, effectively, your waste stream can become a new revenue stream.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
That in of itself is fantastic. You're about to give a presentation.
Yep.
Your presentation is going to be roughly about this?
Yeah, exactly. And specifically the opportunity here in Newfoundland and particularly the Baie Verte region.
Talk to me about that opportunity.
So Baie Verte, and this was just touched on earlier in a presentation, Baie Verte has incredible geology. And one of the primary complexes in the region is this ophiolite complex, and that has ultramafic mineralogy that is amenable to carbon mineralization. And so, especially right now, where it feels like there's a lot of excitement, there's a lot that's about to happen, and so as we're getting ready for more production in this region, there's an opportunity to be making plans for your waste as well, using that ultramafic waste.
Right. Now, of course, your role within Arca is really about strategic investment. Is that right?
That's right. So, kind of communicating the geology to funders, be those private funders or government funders.
Showing them the opportunity that lies in there.
Yeah, exactly. Explaining the science, showing the opportunity, and ultimately getting support for us to develop our technologies and bring those to market quicker.
Right. Talk to me about the tech. There must be a lot of sort of influence with AI and machine learning and things like that. Talk to me about that.
So this process of carbon mineralization, like I said, certain material, particularly mafic and ultramafic rock, this happens naturally, but it happens so slowly. Like we're talking millennia.
Right.
So not fast enough for it to be able to combat climate change, or to really be able to offset any kind of emissions at the rate that we're producing them. So what our technology does is there's two core things. It increases the capacity for ultramafic material to hold CO2 in its structure, and increases the rate at which it captures it.
Okay.
And we do that using energy bursts. So our kind of breakthrough technology is microwaves for mineral activation. And this microwave activation uses selective heating to partially decompose minerals so that those really reactive elements like magnesium are freed from mineral structures.
Okay.
So then when they're exposed to air, they spontaneously bind with CO2.
Wow.
So instead of this process taking millennia, it takes days. And we're increasing rates of capture by well over 100 times.
Yeah, that's incredible. What an incredible technology. What a perfect solution, and such an important solution, to our world.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, mining really faces a paradox right now, and I don't know if a lot of people appreciate that, because there's so much pressure on it to decarbonize and improve ESG practices. But at the same time, there's equal pressure to be upping production and producing all of the critical minerals that we need for the energy transition. So mining is faced with this paradox, needing to expand and decarbonize at the same time.
At the same time.
And so we're really trying to bring a solution that helps that what may seem to be impossible situation happen.
It sounds like Arca is right in the perfect place at the perfect time right now.
Right.
Wow. An absolute pleasure to be in conversation with you.
Yeah,
Thanks for explaining that tech to us, and I'm sure a lot of the viewers will be incredibly interested in what's happening out there. And listen, glad to have you back in Newfoundland, all the way from British Columbia. So
yes, well, it's always good to have an excuse to come home for a visit.
Good.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.